Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with another edition of Challenge Accepted. And this week it's a sketch that I proposed for Shannon and me to do. And immediately when I put it out there, Shannon said, I see branding strips. And that's of course what I saw too and what I used, but I'm going to kind of flip it a bit and do something a little bit different. I was fully prepared to do this mixed media. In fact, I had my, see if I can move the camera, I had my selection of, those are like glittery inks, sort of like Heidi Swap Color Shine, except they are by Spectrum Noir, and they come in little jars. And I picked those up at Tuesday Morning weeks ago, and haven't used them extensively, but I thought I might use them for this. And instead, I'm going to try to cut the time short on this. As I'm filming this, it's a few days ahead of time. I'm filming this on Monday. It's going to go live on Thursday. I've got to run down to the hospital and see Ava, who was put into intensive care yesterday, and I have some surgery tomorrow morning. So we have lots of, we're getting to know the directions to the hospital really well, sadly. Anyway, I want to cut this a little bit short. So instead of mixed media, because of the photos I'm using, this photo was taken by my son, Katie's dad, of Katie, and they were at Newtown Park, and I think he used an Snapchat filter to put the location on there. I ran it through some filters on my phone and got these three versions of it. And I have this perspective that says, you are here. And this morning when I was peeling the backing off of it, it broke in two. So I'm going to actually kind of use it a little wonky when I put it on. But that's in navy blue. That kind of set the tone for some of the embellishments. I have some florals and bicycles, fussy cut out of some papers that had a navy blue background. There are stars in the original, so I have this little strip of fabric stars. I have a couple perspective hearts. So I was kind of trying to figure out what could I do that was not wet media, and so I decided that I wanted to do a map. Now the park that she was in has a lake, so I kind of want to include this lake part, and I'm just really going to start kind of tearing in no particular shape here. Make sure I'm getting it on camera so that you can see. Okay, so I think that's enough to tell that it's a map. I'm kind of going to maybe turn it like this or this. I don't want the freeway signs the wrong way. I said I don't want to cover up the lake. I'll do it like this. And here's what, when I said I was going to flip it around, I've already stapled my branding strips together. And if you'll notice on the original, the branding strips that go all the way across are up at the top. And then there's a kind of staggered set of strips that go underneath. I'm going to do that differently. I'm going to put the ones all the way across down at the bottom. I'm going to let the map kind of get really close to that. Let me see if that works. Yeah, that's that's gonna kind of work. I'll kind of turn it like that. I want a little bit showing at the bottom of it. Let me get that. And I want, of course, everything showing at the top. Now I can do this way, or I can do it this way. And I kind of like doing it this way because to me it kind of looks like a path, and that could be the walking path to the park. So what I've already done, as I said, is staple these together, and I've mounted some foam on the back. So I'm just going to adhere those quickly. And then to adhere the map paper is very, very thin. I do not know what collection that came from, but it's very thin. I think I bought it from the loose paper bin at Michael's or Joann's, where they've got those kind of loose sort of papers, or thin papers, I'd say. You get the pattern, but not a good cardstock kind of quality. Okay, I've glued that on just kind of up above this bottom line. I didn't make it even with the bottom line. These are branding strips from a number of different collections. I think there's a lot of Chamel. Well, there's one or two Chamel, and there's a lot of Paige Evans in here. Let me kind of get... Well, actually, let me do this first. I'm going to use something I don't often use because I want this this map paper to be kind of decoupaged onto the cardstock. I'm using a colored cardstock because I'm kind of committed to that. I'm part of a group called the Freeze Gang, and we're doing a year-long spending freeze, and each month someone suggests a focus, and this month Karen Doloff recommended colored cardstock, and Lord knows I've got plenty of that. So I'm going to go with this. I believe that's decent placement, and this will kind of smoosh down on there with no profile. It'll kind of look like it's maybe printed on there. Not quite sure why I thought that was important, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. So now I'm going to put the adhesive on here. I like the pathway look, as I said, and that lake's kind of right there in the middle where I might want that photo. But I'm going to do some embellishing, and we'll see where that ends up. Okay, a little adhesive on the foam here. As you can see, I'm using a few foam scraps to kind of get a pretty solid backing there. Let me do this. I'm going to kind of center it. That looks reasonably good. Okay, now I've got, I think I'm going to put the title like this, right there. So let me kind of just dry fit it there, and then see, I've got this bicycle that I fussy cut, and where it hit on the paper was, it's cut, so I can kind of tuck it in here. Get that on camera. I can tuck it in, and this orange on the bicycle kind of goes with the orange there, and the pink goes with these, lots of the pinks that are in there. So it has all the right colors. Let me get it get some adhesive on it and put it back in there. Okay, so that works. And now I've got these rather large flower clusters, and I'd really like for there to be a couple of them, but I thought maybe I could okay, I like that. And if I tuck it into the love down here, I can kind of cut it across here. Let me do that. Okay, cut that, and I'll stick it, I'll insert it in one, let me get that back on camera. I'll put it down here one strip below where I put the bicycle. And there's some adhesive across here that I'm not going to be able to tuck it in like I was over there. But if I do this, you won't be able to tell that it's not tucked in. Okay, and that leaves, ooh, did it a little bit too far over because I don't want this little rosette hanging off the page. Okay, let me do this, and then that way it'll kind of overlap that corner of the photo. Okay, so I've got those two down there, and then I can do this either here or over on the other side. Let's see where I like it. That flower, I think, would go too far. How about if I have it down like this, and then it kind of points to the title? I like that. Let's go there. Let it be. Okay, and now I'm ready for the liquid glue on the title. I don't want to offset it too much, but enough for some visual interest, I guess. You are here. Okay, now I'm going to add in these. This is my kind of my double heart that I always do, or don't always do, but I like to do it as often as I can. And I'm going to overlap them like that, and that raises up because they're both kind of thick, and that should be okay. I'm a little concerned that it might not stay down. Well, actually, I'm going to need some more. Good. I'm going to add a couple stars. I'm just going to cut, actually I'm going to add 3. I'll cut 1, 2, 3 from the strip, just to have that little bit of shiny gold on there. Got one of them here. Let me get my tweezers. Okay, and I can see that I haven't cut the little connector off. I've had several different brands and types of these stars in the past, and some of them are easier to cut apart without your noticing that they were once connected. This isn't one of those. I'm going to put this star kind of up in here. Get that there. And this other one may go kind of right. Well, let's put it on this strip and let it overhang. The strip's on is on foam, so it will overhang and there'll be a little bit of a shadow, and you'll get the idea that that'll kind of reinforce the dimension there. Okay, I'm done. I will add some journaling, probably around. There's not much of a story here. It was a trip to the park. The park near our home has a really nice dog park, so it was taking Reese on a walk. And I love this Ranger collage glue stick, and I bought a package of 6 when one of our local stores went out of business, because that was the store that had kind of gotten me hooked on it. So this may be my very last stick. Okay, so there's my version of this lift. I've, as in this, the photos cluster is close to the long strips, and that's kind of what I have here. The gigantic flowers obviously aren't on here, and they had more of a kind of a cluster of stars along that vertical line. But I've used this map in the place of that cluster of stars in the mixed media, and it made it go a lot quicker. So enjoy, get out there and find some challenges and give everything a try. Bye.